All right, let's dive in. We're taking a deep dive today, folks, exploring the world of Web3, Fintech, and DeFi in Asia. And to help us navigate this, we've got the TokenBytes 25th edition newsletter as our guide. I'm trying to keep up with all this stuff. It's honestly overwhelming, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's a constant stream of news and developments, but that's what makes it so exciting, right?
Exactly. That's why we're here to break it all down. This newsletter covers a lot, from DeFi innovations to regulatory changes,
Yeah.
and even some fintech advancements and a bit on the metaverse and AI. So let's start with DeFi. TokenBytes throws a lot at us in this area. It's clear DeFi in Asia is not slowing down.
No, not at all. It's actually quite the opposite. There's so much happening. I think what's really interesting is the sheer variety of things going on. You've got Paxos launching a Singapore regulated stablecoin, institutional lending, getting a blockchain boost with OCBC, even Binance is making a comeback. It's really a dynamic landscape.
Yeah, that Singapore stablecoin definitely caught my eye too.
Yeah.
Paxos Global USD, backed by the Monetary Authority of Singapore. That sounds pretty significant.
It is, particularly for enterprises that are, maybe a little hesitant to dive into the crypto world. Having that regulatory stamp of approval from a respected institution like the MAS, it makes a huge difference. It builds trust, reduces uncertainty, and paves the way for wider adoption, I think.
So this could be what encourages more traditional companies to enter the crypto space.
Absolutely, especially those who've been holding back because of regulatory concerns. This could be a real game changer.
And then there's OCBC. They're the first bank in Singapore to offer institutional lending on the blockchain. They say they can cut lending time from a day to just minutes. Is that even possible?
It is. What they're doing is tokenizing securities as collateral on JP Morgan's Onyx digital assets platform. This allows them to execute these reverse repo transactions, basically short-term loans, almost instantly.
Oh.
It's a game changer for OCBC's liquidity management, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to see other banks following suit soon.
So it's all about speed and efficiency, which is, obviously critical in finance.
Precisely. And it shows how traditional financial institutions are finding real practical applications for blockchain. It's not just hype anymore, it's becoming a real tool.
Yeah, it's moving beyond the theoretical. Now, there's also this partnership between Tunes and Circle that seems pretty big, bringing USDC payments to billions of mobile wallets. That's reaching a massive audience.
It is, and I think it speaks to the growing role of stablecoins in financial inclusion. Think about regions with limited access to traditional banking. A partnership like this opens up a world of possibilities. Suddenly you have billions of people who have access to a stable digital currency that can be used for everyday transactions.
So this is reaching beyond just the, tech-savvy early adopters to a whole new demographic.
Absolutely. This is about bringing the benefits of digital finance to the masses.
And speaking of reaching new markets, TokenBytes also mentions Tether launching a dirham-pegged stablecoin in the UAE. Why the UAE and why a dirham peg?
It's strategic, both for the UAE and for Tether. The UAE has been actively trying to position itself as a global blockchain hub, and this launch definitely reinforces that ambition. For Tether, it's about expanding their reach into a new and potentially very lucrative market. Plus, a dirham-pegged stablecoin could really facilitate trade and investment within the region. It's a win-win situation.
It's fascinating how these stablecoin launches are often tied to these larger economic and political goals.
They are. They're becoming more than just a way to transact. They're becoming tools for economic development and global influence.
Speaking of hotbeds of activity, we can't ignore the crypto surge happening in Hong Kong. TokenBytes highlights several developments there. ZA Bank trialing crypto trading, Victory Securities launching structured products, and the SFC setting up a panel for licensed exchanges.
Hong Kong is definitely making a move to become a major player in the crypto world. All these developments signal a very proactive approach to building a comprehensive and well-regulated crypto ecosystem. They're attracting investors and businesses. It's definitely a space to watch.
It seems like a lot of these DeFi stories are pushing boundaries, while the regulatory landscape is trying to keep pace. TokenBytes definitely covers both sides of that.
It's a constant tension, and it plays out in different ways across Asia. You have places like Hong Kong embracing the potential of crypto while also putting safeguards in place, and then you have others taking a much more cautious approach.
Like Hong Kong's approach to AI, TokenBytes mentions their dual-track strategy, fostering innovation while ensuring responsible use. That seems like a tough balancing act.
It is. On the one hand, they want to encourage using AI in finance to improve things like efficiency and customer service. But on the other hand, they're aware of the potential risks, like job displacement, and algorithmic bias. So they're implementing safeguards and ethical guidelines to try to mitigate those risks.
So it's about finding that sweet spot between progress and protection.
Exactly. And it's a challenge that a lot of countries are going to have to face as AI becomes more prevalent.
Then there's the Bank for International Settlements. They're exploring zero-knowledge proofs for cross-border compliance. To be honest, I'm not even sure I understand what that means.
It is complex, but basically zero-knowledge proofs let you prove that something is true without revealing the underlying information. So imagine verifying compliance with international regulations without actually sharing any sensitive transaction details. That's what they're aiming for.
So it's about security and privacy, but on a global scale.
Yes, it could completely revolutionize cross-border payments, making them faster, cheaper, and more secure.
That's pretty amazing. TokenBytes also mentions Vietnam's plan to become a blockchain leader by 2030. They're really going all in.
They are. Their strategy is comprehensive. It addresses legal frameworks, infrastructure, education, even international collaboration. They want to integrate blockchain into their entire digital economy. It's ambitious. It'll be interesting to see how it unfolds.
And finally, TokenBytes dives into Project Guardian in Singapore. What's the focus there?
Project Guardian is all about putting Singapore at the forefront of asset tokenization. They're focused on creating standardized frameworks, testing solutions for tokenized securities, and working with major financial institutions to drive adoption. The goal is to make Singapore a global hub for the next generation of financial markets.
So a lot of these regulatory developments are about positioning these countries as leaders in the future of finance.
Absolutely. They see the potential of these technologies, and they're being proactive, creating environments that will foster innovation and attract investment.
Yeah, it's incredible. It really feels like we're on the cusp of a whole new era in finance.
Definitely. And the pace of change it's remarkable. But hey, let's shift gears a bit. TokenBytes also covers the fintech space, and there's a lot to unpack there as well.
Oh, yeah. Fintech, that's where we see innovation meeting those real-world solutions. And from what I see in TokenBytes, Asia's a real hotbed for fintech activity.
It is. It's where technology is being applied to solve those real financial challenges that people face, and some fascinating companies are coming out of that.
Like Slice, that Indian fintech startup. They just merged with a bank. That's not something you see every day, is it?
It's pretty unusual, yeah. It's interesting, though, by becoming a bank, Slice gets access to a wider range of financial products and services. They can expand their offerings, reach a bigger customer base.
So they go from being a disruptor to, well, part of the establishment in a way. That's a pretty fascinating turn of events.
It is, and it reflects how fintech is evolving. These startups are maturing, and sometimes that means integrating with the existing financial system rather than trying to replace it entirely.
And speaking of shaking things up, MasterCard's going OTP-free in the Asia-Pacific region. No more fumbling with those codes during checkout. I'm all for that.
I know, right? It's a great example of how technology can improve user experience by using biometrics, tokenization, things like click-to-pay. MasterCard is making online payments as seamless as possible while still keeping them secure.
It's all about that balance, convenience, and security. Those are key for consumers.
Absolutely. They're removing friction from the payment process without compromising on security.
TokenBytes also talks about Blade Labs launching a platform for Sharia-compliant financial solutions. That seems like it's addressing a very specific need.
It is. It highlights the importance of financial inclusion within the Islamic world. This platform offers a way to integrate Islamic finance principles into any business application, so it's easier for individuals and companies to access financial services that align with their beliefs.
So it's opening up opportunities for a whole segment of the population that might have been excluded before.
Exactly, ensuring that everyone has access to the financial tools and services they need, regardless of their beliefs.
And last but not least, in the fintech world, we've got Ant International's new Sustainability Scorecard for small and medium businesses. ESG is such a big topic these days, and this seems like a way to make it more manageable for smaller companies.
It is. The scorecard helps businesses track their ESG performance, see where they can improve, which can be helpful for attracting investors, improving their brand image, and contributing to a more sustainable future overall.
So it's not just about doing good. It's good business sense as well.
Exactly. ESG considerations are becoming increasingly important for both investors and consumers. Businesses that show they're committed to sustainability, they're going to have an edge.
Okay, so we've covered DeFi, we've looked at fintech, but TokenBytes also gives us some snippets about the metaverse, NFTs, and AI. It's like peeking into the future.
It is, and while these aren't the main focus of the newsletter, they do represent some of the most potentially disruptive forces shaping the tech landscape.
So let's dive into those snippets a bit. What stood out to you?
Well, B&B Chain just launched this tokenization solution. The idea is to make it easier for businesses to transition to Web3.
Okay, how does that work?
Their platform basically simplifies the whole process of tokenizing real-world assets, things like real estate or intellectual property, even creating corporate tokens. It's all about lowering those barriers to entry, making Web3 more accessible to everyday businesses.
So bringing the benefits of blockchain to a wider audience.
Exactly, and it opens up a lot of interesting possibilities. Imagine investing in fractional ownership of a building or trading digital representations of valuable assets. It could fundamentally change how we think about ownership and value.
And what about OpenSea's revamp? They're doubling down on NFTs, even though the hype has died down somewhat.
They are, and it'll be interesting to see if these new features they're introducing can reignite that interest. Things like shared ownership, where multiple people can own a piece of an NFT, and a bigger focus on SocialFi, integrating social aspects into the NFT experience.
So they're trying to make NFTs more collaborative, more community-driven.
Exactly, and it remains to be seen if this will attract new users and creators. The NFT space is still very much evolving. It's not going away anytime soon.
And finally, there's Singapore. They're continuing to push for AI integration in the insurance sector. What's the ultimate goal with that?
Singapore sees AI as a key element in making insurance more efficient, more personalized, and more customer-centric. We could see things like automated claims processing, policies tailored to individual risk profiles, even more accurate predictions of risk.
So using AI to enhance the whole insurance experience from beginning to end.
Exactly, and Singapore is in a great position to lead the way in this area.
Well, it feels like we've explored every nook and cranny of the TokenBytes newsletter. This deep dive has taken us from DeFi to FinTech, with glimpses of the metaverse and more.
It has, and I think it really highlights something important. Asia isn't just following trends, it's creating them.
It's an incredibly dynamic region, shaping the future of finance and technology. And for anyone who wants to stay ahead of the game, it's the place to watch. It's mind-blowing, really, the sheer amount of innovation happening in Asia. It's like a whole new world unfolding.
It is, and TokenBytes, they've given us a lot to digest, but even as we wrap up this deep dive, there's still more. More to uncover in the fintech world, and then, of course, those glimpses into the metaverse, NFTs, and AI that we touched on earlier.
Right. There's definitely more to unpack there.
So let's start with fintech. There were a couple of stories that really jumped out at me. They showed just how diverse this innovation is.
Okay, I'm all ears. What caught your eye?
Well, there's the partnership between Audax Financial Technology and GEAL in Saudi Arabia. They're aiming to really shake up the digital banking scene there.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. What's the strategy behind that collaboration?
It's about combining strengths. Audax brings their advanced banking as a service platform to the table. It's like a toolkit for building digital banking solutions. And GEAL, they're the digital innovation arm of Riyadh Bank. They have the local expertise and market access.
So you've got a global tech company teaming up with a local powerhouse. Sounds like a good recipe for success.
It has potential, for sure. This kind of partnership can really accelerate things, the development of new services tailored for that specific market.
And on the digital payments front, TokenBytes mentioned MasterCard expanding their digital wallet reach in Asia Pacific with that pay local service.
Yes, that's a smart move by MasterCard. Pay Local basically lets you link your MasterCard to various local digital wallets without needing separate prepaid accounts.
So it's all about that seamless integration and convenience for the user.
Exactly. MasterCard recognizes that in Asia, digital wallets are king. This service lets them tap into that existing infrastructure and make it easier for people to use their MasterCards within those ecosystems.
It's adapting to how people are already choosing to pay.
Precisely. And then there's UOB FinLab. TokenBytes highlighted their green tech accelerator. They're supporting 15 green tech pilots across Southeast Asia.
That's great to hear. What kind of projects are they involved in?
It's a really diverse mix, all focused on tackling environmental challenges. Some are working on quantifying carbon footprints, others on optimizing energy use, some on waste reduction.
So it's about using technology to build a more sustainable future.
Absolutely, and it shows that the fintech world is taking sustainability seriously. It's not just about profits anymore, it's about making a positive impact.
Okay, so let's circle back to those metaverse, NFT, and AI snippets that TokenBytes gave us. It's like a glimpse into a whole other realm of innovation.
It is, and while these weren't the main focus of the newsletter, these technologies are definitely making their presence felt in Asia.
So B&B Chain And their new tokenization solution, they're talking about making it easier for businesses to transition to Web3. How does that work?
Their platform is designed to simplify the whole process of tokenizing real-world assets, things like real estate or intellectual property. Even creating corporate tokens, it's about lowering the barriers to entry and making Web3 more accessible to everyday businesses.
So extending the benefits of blockchain to a wider audience.
Exactly. And it opens up some really fascinating possibilities. Imagine being able to invest in a fraction of a building or trade digital representations of valuable assets. It could revolutionize how we think about ownership and value.
In OpenSea, they're trying to revitalize the NFT market with their revamped platform.
Yeah, they're introducing things like shared ownership, where several people can own a piece of an NFT, and they're putting a lot of emphasis on SocialFi, integrating social elements into the NFT experience.
Making it more collaborative, more community-driven.
Precisely, and it'll be interesting to see if these changes can attract a new wave of users and creators. The NFT space is still evolving. It's far from over.
And lastly, Singapore and their ongoing push to integrate AI into the insurance sector. What's the end goal there?
They see AI as the key to making insurance more efficient, more personalized, and more focused on the customer. Think automated claims processing, policies tailored to individual risk profiles, even more accurate predictions of risk.
So AI to enhance the entire insurance experience from start to finish.
Exactly, and Singapore is really well positioned to be a leader in this area.
Well, I think we've officially reached the end of our TokenBytes deep dive. This has been quite the journey, from DeFi to FinTech, with those glimpses into the metaverse and beyond.
It has, and I think it really highlights something crucial. Asia isn't just following trends, it's setting them.
It's a dynamic region, shaping the future of finance and technology, and for anyone who wants to stay ahead of the curve, it's the place to watch.
Couldn't agree more.
And that's a wrap on this deep dive. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time for another exploration of the world of innovation and disruption.